Hello students and welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Shri Gyanmanjari Vidyapeeth for the students of Standard 10, in which we are learning the subject of English. Students, from the previous lectures we have started with transformation of sentences. Actually we are continuing with the different topics that are covered under transformation of sentences, out of which we are learning the topic of removing to and using so that, or you have to use so that instead of to, or if so that is given you have to remove that, use to. So removing to and inserting so that, or removing in so that and inserting to. So let us take a quick recap of what we have learned so far in formation of sentences in the one of the grammar topics. I hope students you are ready with your writing material. Some of the things we have already written down, which I will notify so that you don't have to write it again. For example, the standard rules for removing to, we are already aware of it. There is only and only one rule out of that. Variation is that either there will be a negation used along with to, or to will be without any negation. That means the sentence will be affirmative. So it is the first case. If the sentence is having to and affirmative, when we transform that using so that, then the sentence will have a negation. Vice versa, if the sentence is having to and it is also having a negative word, then while we transform that to so that, that sentence will be affirmative. That means the negation has to be removed. So with to, if the sentence is having to and no negative word is there, when we transform it to so that, we must have a negation to equalize. Same way, when we are having to and negation also, so we have to remove negation when we transform it to so that. Now few examples that we have done, you have already written it down, so please do not write that again. Math is 2. Here we have to see that 2 is used, no negation is there, so when we turn it to so that, negation will be there. So math is, we remove 2, we insert so that with a word in between. Math is so complicated that who is not able to understand, I or we cannot understand it. So that is used and negation is also used. This we have already done. Raman is too poor to buy new books. Here also the sentence is affirmative because no negation is used and to is there. So we have to remove to, insert so that, and also a negation. So Raman is so poor that he cannot buy books. Now let us see a sentence where negation is there in so that. So we were so anxious that we did not. So and that is also there, negation is there. So when we transform it to negation, we removed. So we did not wait will become to wait. So answer is, we were too anxious to wait for lunch. Now we come to double negation. Double negation a little bit confusing, but here negation is there, ignore, right? He is too intelligent. So when we transform it to so that, he is so intelligent that he cannot ignore it. So a double negation is present over here. Only thing is we have to bring out that negation. Otherwise, to ignore, we kept it as it is. Now comes the double negation. To and not. To is also there, not is there, right? So when we are removing to, we also have to remove negation, because when we are removing to, we use so that and a negation, but a negation is already present over here. negation and negation. Two negatives will make a positive, right? So instead and ignore, we will turn it into the opposite, that is antonym. He is so intelligent that he will notice it. That means you cannot fool him, right? Then we saw one example where negation is used. The rock is hard to break. That means the rock is so hard that it cannot break. Overall meaning is it is unbreakable. So better for us if we try to understand the correct essence and the meaning of the sentence rather than doing it abruptly and ending up with a wrong answer. The rock is too hard not to break. That means it is breakable, because too hard and not hard, not so hard and not to break. So not and not removed, so that will be a breakable. The rock is so soft that it will break. Here it's the opposite. Yes, so, and that is used without negation. So when we use to, we have to use negation. The problem was, okay, it's of the previous one. The rock is too hard not to break. That means the rock is so hard that it will break, because too hard not. So not and not removed, that means it is breakable. The problem was too difficult to solve. The problem was so difficult that it cannot be solved. Yes, double negation. The problem was not too difficult to solve. That means it was easy. The problem was so easy that it could be solved. The food was too spicy to eat. The food was so spicy that we could not eat it. Opposite, the food was not too spicy to eat. That means it was tasty. So we have to use the antonyms when double negation is used, so that we make the meaning and essence of the sentence clear, and we keep the meaning of the sentence intact. We do not change the meaning of the sentence in transformation of sentences. Now, very important understanding of removing to and inserting so that. Now first we understand the sentence. Yes, we are repeating this exercise for the third time. This is the third lecture for removing to, because lots of mistakes are committed because we do not understand the correct meaning of the sentence. If we understand the correct meaning of the sentence, then it helps us in removing to and using so that, plus negation hona chahiye, antonym use hona chahiye. So all these problems will be solved if we properly understand the sentence. Then only the output of the sentence will be clear. So the rock is hard to break. That means it is not breakable. The rock is too hard to break. That is unbreakable. The rock is so hard that it cannot be broken. Then also it means the same. Yes. The rock is not so soft that it can be broken. Again, it means hard. So there are 4 different ways to say the same thing. But somewhere, of course, yeah, first sentence, it's quite simple. To is also not used, so we do not have to change it to so that. But in all this, to is used without negation, right? Here, so that is used without negation. That means these 2 sentences are the same. This sentence is a transformation of this. Versa. Here also, the rock is not so soft. Not so soft means hard, and it can be broken. So meaning of all these 4 sentences are the same. Problem is, which sentence are you reading? And you need to convert that to which type of sentence. If to is given, then that and not. That means these 2 are same. Now hard ka antonym softer. Not so soft means it is hard. That means it can be broken. We have already written down these sentences. This is just a repetition and revision so that we understand it better, because today we are going to do also, and this is going to be treated as a classwork, because I will be giving you the question and waiting for a while so that you can note down the answer and then check whether your answer is correct or not. The rock is not too hard. So it is breakable. So it is breakable. Here we see that to is also used and not is also used. So when we turn it to so that, use something to equalize it. The rock is not so hard, not too hard, not so hard that it cannot be broken. Not too hard, soft. That means again this sentence is also meaning is it is breakable. The rock is so soft that it can be broken. All the three sentences without the change of meaning, these three sentences are the same. Now if this is the question, these two can be the answer. If this is the question, then this is the only answer, because so that से हमने to में change करना है. If this is the question, then also this is the answer, right? So see what the question wants to convey. The message should be clear in your mind, and when you do the transformation also the message should remain as it is. It should not change. Meaning of this message should not be changed. The rock is too hard not to break. That means breakable. It is not too hard. The rock is too hard not to break. That means it is breakable. The rock is so hard that it cannot not be broken. We can write it that way also, or we can cut both the negatives and make the sentence as it is. The rock is so hard that it can be broken. Then something is wrong. What is the answer? The rock is so soft. So this is not the answer of this one. This is the answer of this one. This is for your understanding. Please remember, this is for your understanding that happens if we remove both the negation. Then hard remains, which changes the meaning of the sentence. The rock is so hard that it can break. No. So we have to use an antonym over here which will make the sentence correct. Again, we have a sentence over here. The rock is not too hard not to break. Now in the question itself we have two negation. So we remove the two negation, right? Then try to read the sentence. The rock is too hard to break. That means it is unbreakable. So we should make our sentence using so that in such a way that this meaning, that rock is unbreakable, that remains intact. The rock is not so soft that it cannot not be broken. Now we see over here that there are three negations used. These two negations, if removed, and also there is one negation which makes the sentence intact. The rock is so soft that it cannot be broken. Now I have a problem over here because this cannot be true. So not so soft that it can be broken. If it was hard over here, then the rock is so hard that it cannot be broken. Then it remains over here. So here we have to make a little change. We have to make it hard so that meaning of the sentence remains intact. Now let us see. I removed two negation, but I kept the third one. The rock is so hard that it cannot be broken. Then meaning of these two sentences is same. The rock is not so soft that it can be broken. Not so soft means hard. Again, the meaning same. Students, now we are going to do some practice work. So you should be having your writing material with you, pen and paper, and of course it should be rough work so that you get the proper answer, you get to write properly and copy the final answers in your fair book so that it can be helpful for you during your preparations for the examination. So I hope you are ready with your writing material. This is just practice, but you need to include it in your fair book. This is the question for you. Please note the question. You are too young to have faith. I'm repeating. You are too young to have faith. Now, the question has to and it does not have any negation. That means we have to remove to and insert negation. I hope your answer is ready. We have had lots of practice till now, lots of understanding till now. So, what would be the probable answer for this? You are too young. That means you are so young that. Now we have to remove the you are so young that. Now we have two over here which needs to be removed. So we have to insert the subject again and if possible object also. Object and subject depends. You can use pronoun also. Here it's already in pronoun. So you are so young that. To without negation, so that with negation. You are so young that you cannot have faith, right? That is the correct answer, right? So I hope you have written down the question and the answer also, and or if you have already written down the answer, then you can check what mistake you have done in your answer. Write the correct one from looking from the screen. We come up with the next question, and this you are going to do on your own. I have been patient too long. I have been patient too long. Patient here is not the medical one. It is having patience. Yes, waiting so that correct results are got. I have been patient too long. Now, too is given. Negation is not given. Yes, and lots of other connectivity is also lost because then we don't know how to end up with the sentence. So you have to elongate it. Time interval is there. There can be use of antonym. Yes. So I have been patient too long. That means I have been patient so long that. Now we don't have anything to complete it, right? So I have been patient for no short time. I have been patient for no short time. We come up to this answer because we have a complement that is missing. A complement that is missing. It does not specify what. Yes, it doesn't specify what. The question paper was too easy to fail. Then the answer is the question paper was so easy that I or we cannot fail, right? So we have some complement to finish the sentence. Here that complement is absent, right? So transform, remove to and insert so that our meaning of the sentence remains incomplete because we do not have anything to complete the sentence. So there is no use over here to use so or that. We just simply make the antonym. Antonym for I have been patient too long. The complement should be time. Too long time, right? So we just use the antonym of long time, that is short time, and finish of the I have been patient for no short time. Yes, this example is to show you that every time transformation is not possible from to so that, unless and until you do not have something to complete with so that, we cannot have the answer, right? So come to the next one. one. It is, I have heard so much about your system that I want to write about it. Now I have so and I have that and lots of words in between. And so that is used without any negation. That tells me that when I am transforming it to to, I should use a negation. Try to do it. I have heard so much about your system that I want about it. Answer is, I have heard, so that will get transformed into to. I have heard too much about your system. Now, want to write about it. I want to write about it, but negation cannot be used somewhere over here. So I'll use the negation in front of the verb. Not to want to write about it. So I have so that also and negation also to keep the meaning of the sentence intact. Because here I. Now no need of repeating I. Yes, over here there is no need. I not want to write, you cannot say like that. I have heard so much about system, I want to write about it. We have to use to and negation. I have heard too much about your system not to write about it. That means I write about it. So I hope this question and answer you must have written in your book. Let us come to the next one. I shall be so glad when today is over. I have got so many compliments from some of the students that, sir, you teach something and you ask something. That's the funda of education. Something is taught, something is asked, right? So we cannot do anything about it. You have to use your brain. That is why examples are different and problems are different, so that you have to use your head in order to solve it, right? So I should not be getting more compliments about this. I shall be so glad when. Now here there is a problem. That is not used. When is used. When means time. When means time. So if I use so that, it becomes a reason. Yes, I want a chocolate. Why? Then there has to be a reason, because I want to eat it, or I like sweet, I like chocolates, right? So here reason is not that time is there. Then how to change it to to? Now I shall be too glad. I am so glad. Too glad हो गया, लेकिन यहाँ पे when है, time है. So I don't need that. I'll use something else. I'll be too glad for today to be over. Why? Because today is still not over. Why did I use when? Why did I not use that in the question? I shall be so glad that today is over. Today is complete. But according to this sentence, when today is over, that means today is yet not over, and I have still lots of work to do, lots of difficulties to come. Right? I have to face lots of difficulties still, or there is lots of work remaining. Today is not over. I have to keep the meaning of that sentence intact when I do the transformation. So I am too glad for today to be over. So in the answer also I changed from so glad to too glad, but I kept the meaning of the sentence intact. I did not have the use of negation, because if you try to use negation over here, then meaning of the sentence will change, right? So in order to time and the context of the sentence intact, I will not use negation over here. I shall not be too unhappy for today to be over. No, then the sentence will become wrong. Yes, here glad does not mean happy. Glad means relief or relax. Yes, this such a lot of work still today is not over. Till, say, suppose till 5 o'clock it's your study time and it is just 3 o'clock. So you are waiting for 5 o'clock to be there so that at that time 5 o'clock your work will get over, but still it is 3 o'clock only. So what happens at 5 o'clock? You get relieved, you get relaxed that the time is over, my work is over, right? So here glad doesn't mean happy. Here glad means the sense of having relief or relaxation. So that meaning has to be kept intact. So you do not have to use any negative. Of course, the rules tell us, right? But you got to see the sentence and bend the rules accordingly so that meaning of the sentence remains intact. Here glad does not mean happy, it means a sense of relief, and that meaning has been kept intact over here. So time and again I say that remove to and use so that. It's a tad bit difficult because we have to understand the meaning and do the transformation in that particular way. Now this one is easy for you. Midas was too greedy not to be punished. I hope everybody knows about Midas. When you are listening, please also continue writing. Right. So Midas was a great king and he worshipped God like anything, and but he was a very greedy man and he was always unsatisfied with the amount of wealth he had, and he had an absolute love for gold. He thought all the gold of the world should be possessed by me. He possessed a lot of gold, but then he was not satisfied with it and he asked for a boon that whatever I touch should turn into gold. So God, of course, knew what was going to happen, and then God still gave the boon to him, and the boon became a reality because as soon as he touched something, the material turned into gold. So he touched lots of stones, lots of utensils, lots of other things. Wherever he touched, it became gold. But the problem started when he got hungry. You know the rest of the story. Yes, and he can't eat because whatever he touches turns into gold. So if he touches an apple, it turns into a golden apple made up of solid gold, and he cannot eat it. That situation he somehow coped up and he became helpless at one point in time when his very, very beautiful, very young daughter came and tried to be in father's arms. Midas touched her, and the daughter turned into gold. He loved his daughter so much that he couldn't just bear the child turning into gold, so he again prayed to the god and asked to take the boon back from him and make him a normal person. So God punished him for being too greedy by turning his daughter into gold, right? So that is it. Midas was so greedy, too greedy not to be punished. That means he should be punished. So our overall meaning of the sentence must be he was so greedy that he should be punished. Because two is there, negation is there. Negation को remove करना है. He was so greedy that he was punished. Yes, very simple. Next, the impact of the bomb was so great that it left us confused. We are talking about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? The impact of the bomb was so great that it left us confused whether what we did was correct or not. It almost vaporized two complete city with all the population and everything standing. It just got erased, right? So we are talking about that. But we are interested in the sentence. So is the used, that is used, and great is the should be there. Now, so and that is used. It does not have negation. So when we use to, we have to use negation. The impact of the bomb was too great. It has left us confused to leave us confused. It has left not to leave us confused. So we have used to also, made necessary changes to the verb because left is there, word is leave, and not to leave us confused. Some were so close to ground zero that they were vaporized instantly. Again, we have so that with lots of words in between. We do not have a negation. I'll give you enough time so that you can write down the question, write down the answer on your own, one time, two time, and see which of the answer is more correct. We were so close to ground zero that. Between so and that we have close to ground zero. So we have to use those words with to, but then we have to use negation also because negation is not used in the question. It has so that without negation. So when we use to, remove so that and insert to, we have to use negation. Somewhere too close to ground zero, somewhere too close to ground zero not to be vaporized instantly. That means they got vaporized instantly. The heat of the atomic bomb is so great, so intense that wherever it falls, that is called ground zero, and the nearby of ground zero vaporizes instantly. That means everything turns into heat and body, structure, building, whatever is nearby, it vaporizes without leaving any ash behind, right? So that is called vaporized. Some were so close to ground zero that they were vaporized inside. They were too close to the ground not to vaporize instantly. I am so sorry that I was not taken instead. I am so sorry that. Now so and that is there and negation is there. So when we transform it to to, negation has to be removed. I am too sorry. But negation is still used. Why? I was not taken, not to be taken instead. I am too sorry that I was not taken instead. So here too also will be there and negation will also remain in order to keep the sentence intact because we do not have anything with which we can make an antonym. Yes, you see, I am so sorry that. I am too sorry I was not taken instead. To be taken instead. Now you do not have a single word where you can make an antonym, right? For that reason, because we do not have any word to make an antonym, so we have to keep negation as it is. This is an example to show you that so and that and negation is there. When we turn it into to, then also negation will remain as it is because we do not have any antonym to neutralize the effect of removing the negation. So we keep the negation as it is. The evening at Shimla was so divine that I would not have missed it. So is used, that is used, negation is also used, right? So the evening at Shimla was so divine that, too divine, so that So divine that to divine. I would not have missed it to miss it, or to be missed. The evening at Shimla was too divine to be missed. But the same thing could not have been done in the previous sentence, right? We just couldn't make a sentence with removing the negation. For example, if we go back again, I am too sorry that. I am too sorry to. We do not have, because we just have two words, taken and instead. Taken is the past participle of took. Yes, so take, took, taken. Right, so that way taken is the past participle. Instead, we cannot make any antonym of that. We helpless over here. But the case over here, right? The evening at Shimla was too divine for what? To be missed. We have something to finish off. That is why we are able to use to also and remove negation from the sentence also. She was too complaining a woman not to use her tongue as a horsewhip. To is there, negation is there. Very simple. Remove to, use those, so that, and also remove the negation and make the sentence affirmative. It's quite an easy sentence, so please try, please write. It is quite long sentence. I have giving you long sentences so that if you are afraid of the length of the sentence, that fright can be removed over here. Don't be afraid about the length of the sentence. See what you have to do in it. That doing part will be quite small. So if you are worried about the long sentence, length of the sentence, then you will certainly get confused, right? So my wife or his wife was too complaining a woman not to use her tongue as a horsewhip. Yes, so his wife was too complaining a woman. His wife was so complaining a woman that, yes or no? His wife was so complaining a woman that will remove not, then the sentence will remain the same. She used her tongue as a horse. So complaining that she used her tongue as a horsewhip. Yes, I all understand what is a horsewhip, right? Now we come to textual sentences. Yes, because in exam textual sentences will be asked for doing transformation. What we have been learning up till now was understanding and explanation. So we used sentences, general sentences with which we can do the understanding, and explanation can be done, understanding can be had, and working can be done. But now we are going to use the sentences that come in the textbook, because the same sentences will be asked in the paper. So quite a long lengthy sentence. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, it must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. This is from the chapter number 2, Nelson Mandela. Right, we know that chapter is quite tough, right, and grammar will be more tougher. So lots of time is given to you so that you can write down the question. Is out of the experience, I am dictating, out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. Now, as I said, please do not get worried about the length of the sentence. If I start from here till here, you don't have to do anything. You just have to write the sentence as it is, because to comes after that. So this is the unnecessary part, but necessary in the answer because it forms the part of the sentence, right? So from here to here, That means disaster that lasted. Here, till here, the answer remains the same. That means you can copy down this much part as the answer. That means after that, because to is used over here, right? We know to का so that करना है और बीच में क्या है, right? So we know the answer. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted, that, yes or no? Now remains the question over here. That lasted so long that, now we'll start from here. You'll cut this much part. A society must be born. So must be born, I'll cut from here, and a society, I'll replace it over here. Yes? Understand what I'm doing? Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted so long that a society must be born of which all humanity will be proud. Let's see the answer. Yes or no? Out of a disaster that lasted, okay, that lasted. Then I inserted so, then I inserted long in meaning so long that. A society must be born of which? What is over here? Must be born a society. So I just interchange the set of words to make the sentence grammatically correct. Otherwise, I did not do much change over here, right? I did not even use negation, right? If you see the answer properly, I did not have the use of using negation also. What happens if I want to use negation? What happens if I want to? Yeah, this is the answer, right? Don't get confused. This is the answer. Negation. So what should I do? We have done an example earlier. So long will become not so short. Not so short means we are talking about time. So this part has to be, so out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted not so short. Instead of long, I'll use the antony short. Now, not so short means so long. Now, this becomes the answer, because earlier we did not have negation. Yes, not so short that a society must be born, क्योंकि यहाँ पे must be born नहीं हो सकता, right? And you cannot have any name over here, because ये बहुत long context हो जाएगा उसका. Yes, you won't be able to reach and you will be confusing yourself. So that is what I am saying, that whatever the length of the sentence, you have to change only a little bit, but then you have to know where you have to change. That makes your answer correct. So I hope you got your answer. Out of the experience of extraordinary disaster that lasted not so short, that means it lasted for a long time. We have to do only that much change. And ye must be born a society, then a society must be born. We are just trying to rearrange the words. We did not make any change. You see over here, I did not change. A society must be born a society. Just rearrange it so that grammatically it becomes correct. In the sentence it was grammatically correct, but when I change it, it's grammatically. So I have to change it to make it correct. But the changes I did, actual changes, too long, so that I used also, and I used a negation also. The answer is, should I make it more clear? There are circles. Somebody might get confused. We are already a confused lot. So that lasted not so long का हो जाएगा short. This is the answer, right? So you make this much small change in whole of the sentence. You make that much change. Don't worry about the length of the sentence. Students have been repeating again and again. The time I give you a long sentence, you get confused. Don't get confused by the length of the sentence. Don't worry about it. See or catch the part that you have to do changes, and that will make the transformation correct. Yet another very, very long sentence. Same, because this chapter is quite tough. Grammar. This chapter is also going to be the vocabulary, right? Start writing quickly. Mandela felt privileged to be host to the nations of the world because not too long ago. Now understand? What is the change that you are going to do? It's nowhere but over here. This much part only. Otherwise, whole of the sentence remains as it is. So, don't worry. This is a 4-line, and that also printed. When you write it in your rough book, fair book, you see that you take up at least 6 to 7 lines. That's quite a long sentence, right? But don't get worried about. Yes, see, unnecessary parts you don't think over that much. See, cash the only part that is necessary for you to do the transformation. Mandela felt privileged to be the host of the nations of the world because वहां तक हमने कुछ नहीं करना है, कुछ करना नहीं. We have to, of course, we have to write, and the answer we have to write it as it is. We don't have to do anything, but then we need to write the sentence down till because. Now, not too long. Not too long is short. Not too long is short, right? Not भी remove हो गया, so that भी आ गया, and negation चला गया, right? So, Mandela felt privileged to be the host to the nations of the world because short while ago, the South Africans were considered outlaws. Now let's see the answer. Little bit different, yes. Different word is used, otherwise it means the same, right? What we say, not too, that means short. Same thing, before short time. Then you don't have to write ago. See? Like me, don't make silly mistakes. Okay. Lesson to be learned. Mandela felt privileged to be host of to the nations of the world because. यहाँ तक copy कर देना है. Now, not too long, that means before short time. Okay? You say before ago. So I kept it so that you can understand, you don't make silly mistake which will take away your mark. If I say before short while ago, then also it's true. But if I am using while, I'll have to use. If I am using short time, but I used before, so you don't write ago. If I am not using before, then I will use ago. These are all plain words. Yes, because short time ago. Or before short time, then I'll use before, then no ago, right? The South Africans were considered outlaws. So please do not get worried about the length of the sentence. You have to do a very small change in a very small part of the sentence. Focus your eyes where it is. What changes you will do so that. What changes did I do? Not to. Not to. So in the answer I have to remove not and use so that. So I removed not and I use so that. Before short time, South Africans were considered outlaws. Your parents encourage you to do something that you were too scared to try. Your parents encouraged you to do something you were too scared to try. That is the question. That is textbook here, right? So don't try to find out where it is. If it is in the question paper, it is from the textbook, right? Maybe we never had our eyes on it. Parents encouraged you to do something that you were so scared that you did not try it. Where is the change? 2 is there, but this 2 is a problem. If I want, remember, if I want to remove TO, 2, then I have to insert 3 or 4 words. So that is what happened. You did not, 3 words I had because I removed that 2. I had to insert subject or the object, subject, and then form because I wanted to remove TO2. TWO2 has to be removed. I inserted so scared that. Instead of too scared, I inserted so scared that. So you encourage you to do something that you were so scared that you did not try it. Another sentence, quite long and a very interesting sentence. Remember, because होता है तो थोड़ी बहुत गड़बड़ हो सकती है, right? It was about a mother duck and a father swan with 3 baby ducklings who were beaten to death by the father because they quacked too much. Chapter number 5, 6, I don't know, but you should have gone through it. Our problem is too much, right? How will turn that? Because 2 is there, negation is not there. So you have to use so that and negation. It was about a mother duck and a father. So pehli line as it is. Swan with 3 baby ducklings. Same who? Tak same who. Now ducklings were the one. So I will transform the sentence. Who quacked so much that? Because too much, so much that. तो पूरा sentence rearrange करना पड़ेगा. Because after who I use quacked. Who quacked so much that they were bitten to death by the father. Here we see that negation again cannot be used, because we change the arrangement of the sentence completely and rearranged it so that we do not have the use of negation, right? So much that they were not unbitten. Yes, do that, right? So this makes the sentence more clear. Transformation of the sentence is complete without the use of negation, because we had to rearrange the whole of the sentence to keep the meaning of the sentence intact and keep as it is. So small sentence now. He was annoyed with her because she talked too much. Yes, he was annoyed with her because she talked too much. This is also from chapter 5 or 6. Yes. So, because she talked too much. Again, here also too much is there. Again, we are rearranging, but too much without negative, so we try to make it so that with negation. She talked. Now he was annoyed. We sentence so that we can keep the meaning of the sentence intact. She talked so much that he was not happy with this, because annoyed means not happy. Annoyed means not happy. So that is the same word I used, only is I made negative of it and the antonym. unhappy. So not happy, same thing. She talked so much that he was not happy with her. Here's a chapter just learned. Maxwell was too sad to think of keeping a dog. Maxwell was too sad to think. So sad that. Maxwell was so sad that. Now to is there without a negation, so that will be used with a negation, right? How are we going to do it? Maxwell was so sad that he did not think of keeping a dog again. One, he did not. We are removing this two. We are removing this two. So we have to add 3 or 4 words that we have discussed earlier, right? So we complete today's, come to an end to today's video lecture. Thank you, students.